Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Hey everybody, it's Cutler here on the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast, the Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube channel, the Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club, and it is another Thursday. The week is almost over, y'all. The month is marching right along, and we are marching right along with it. I don't know about y'all, but I'm still so very glad to be an active participant in what we call humanity. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad to experience life. I'm glad to just still be a part of what is wonderful and what is great and what is beautiful and what is grand. I'm glad to be able to interact with people. I'm glad to be able to interact with my brothers and my sisters throughout the world just one more time. And I'm thankful for these 1,800 seconds that I get to spend with you all. I really, really am. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Can I tell y'all how excited I get when it's almost time to go live? It seems like my adrenaline starts flowing and I start looking forward to this moment. I don't know what you all are going to, I don't even know what you all are going to write in the chat, but for some reason, I get excited when it's just a few moments and I go, I'm going to chat with my friends for the next 1,800 seconds and tell your people, go on and tell people if they want to know what is this channel about, go on and tell them. It is about inspiration. You all probably know this by now. It is about inspiration. It's about motivation. And it is about challenging ourselves to be our best selves, even in the worst situations. It is about making sure that we've shown up better today than we did yesterday. It's making sure that we're taking a look to see how we can show up better tomorrow than we did today. It doesn't mean that there was any failure with the day. It doesn't mean that there was any flaws or any flops with the day. It just means that we are intentional. It means that we are direct about trying to be our best selves in every possible situation. I don't know about you, but I appreciate these 1,800 seconds because they somehow sharpen the person that I am. They retweak the person that I hope to be. And they challenge me to become better. They challenge me to show up tomorrow because I think about this conversation that I've had with you all. I think about what we have discussed. And so I'm challenged every day to show up better. And I'll ask myself, what did you do to show up better? And we have all of these conversations. Of course, the last time we chit-chatted, it was about how to shift your perspective, how to look at things differently, how to look from a different vantage point, how to see the world through a different kind of lens. Because if I want to be better, I need to learn how to see things better. I need to somehow adjust my mindset. So that's what we've been talking about for, at least for the last time. So I'm so thankful for you all. And if you hear background noise, it's because my family's gotten together, so some of them are here. So I hope that it doesn't ring through too loud. I hope that you all can still hear me loudly and clearly. But can I tell you all, thank you for showing up. And if you haven't done so already, do me a favor. Go ahead and click subscribe. And after you click subscribe, go ahead and click the notification bell because it lets you know whenever I've gone live. It lets you know whenever I've uploaded new content. Now, once you come in this evening, come on to the chat because we're going to continue this conversation about how to change perspective. And I'll shout out the LTTC VIPs, excuse me, in just a moment. But tell me how you all are doing as 2023 is marching right along. I think what I may need to do, you all, is just to take a quarterly check-in because in just a few days we will have completed the first 3 months of the year, January, February, March, and that's just the first quarter. And I'll probably need to just check in and see how we're doing. So I may just call it a quarterly check-in. But until then, tell me how you all are doing. How is the year treating you, and how are you treating the year? Do you think that some of the goals you set, do you think some of the aspirations that you've laid, that some of the aspirations that you've made, do you think you're on your way to meeting them? I think I want to talk about that next week because we don't want to get to the end of the year and we will have set goals that are so lofty and had these aspirations and these resolutions, and we don't see ourselves matching or meeting them. So we're going to do a 1 month, we're going to do a 1 quarter check-in next week at some point. Is that all right? But tonight I really want to I want to continue our conversation about how to shift your perspective. And I want to talk about why that's important. And rather than being very general and very broad and very generic, I want to talk about some specifics tonight, okay? But before I do that, let me shout out the LTTC VIPs, the top 3 people who came over into the chat. Now, the rest of you, I see you coming in, so come on over to the chat and say hi to me because I want to see my friends. Come on over and come on in the chat room, all right? So, meanwhile, I want to shout out Tracy Johnson, who says, hey, everyone, good evening. Annie Cutler said, let's ride. Paula D says, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you all as well. Do you know anyone who struggles with always seeing the glass half empty? Do you know anyone whose initial response to different kinds of situations and circumstances always seems to be somewhat pessimistic or always seems to be somewhat negative? If you know people like that, it means that their perspective, their attitude towards seeing things, their point of view, their lens has a certain focus, that they just see things a certain way. But when it comes to changing your life for the better, and this is why we're having this conversation, when it comes to changing your life for the better, and we know that better is a trigger word for us. It is a key word for us because we are all trying to get to the space that's called better. I don't know about you, but I want to be better every day. I want to be better tomorrow, more so than I was today. All right. But when it comes to changing your life for the better, one of the things that we said is that changing your perspective is pivotal. It is critical. It is crucial. It is of utmost importance. You will never change your life for the better until you change your perspective. So we talked about it. What does it take to change your perspective? And we confessed, we admitted that changing your attitude, changing your outlook, all of that is a mindset, but it is not necessarily done overnight. It is a process. And you all may remember I tossed out some words, some controversial issues to see if we really do have a certain perspective in terms of how we see things. And then the last time we talked, I generally said that if you want to change your perspective, you have to evaluate your perspective. Think about it. Think about how it shapes you. And then not only do you have to evaluate your perspective, but you have to consider the perspective of other people. Be respectful in all of that. And then finally, I suggested that you need to try and reformulate your perspective by taking charge of how you see things. So you all may recall that. Well, that was generally how we shift our perspective. But I want to offer a few more tips. And I think these tips are probably a little more direct. And I can't remember what I was reading, but I was reading some literature about this, and I pulled these points, and I honestly can't remember where I pulled them from. You all, I have to do a better job about noting where I pull things so that I can make it a resource for you to follow up on, for you all to follow up on. But again, how many of you will be honest and say that you do see that there are times and you may have a rigid perspective? Can I put up both of my hands? When it comes to some things, I just have a rigid perspective. Sometimes I know based on the subject matter, I can have one of those uncompromising perspectives, and I'm just being honest. But in general, when it comes to life and comes to life's issues, if you're going to become a better person and you want to change your life for the better, many times it's all about changing your perspective. And I don't know about you all, but I really want to become better. And so I look at my perspective and I see how is it affecting me? How is it affecting others around me? And am I objective? Am I objective enough to embrace other decisions, other ideologies, and other schools of thought? And so I want to talk about that this evening. Are you an uncompromising person who really is not willing to change your mind or change how you see things? Or do you know people like that? Even if it's not you, do you know people like that? Do you know people who see the world one way and they are not inclined to see it any other way? That's how they see it. That's how their grandparents saw it. That's how their parents saw it. That's how I see it. That's how I'm going to teach my children to see it. That's how I'm going to teach my grandchildren to see it, because that's just the way it is. Do you know people like that? But let's talk, you all. Let's talk about really not on a broad scale, but let's just get right down to the meat and the bones of it. How do you change your perspective and improve your life? Because we're talking about improving our lives, changing our perspectives in ways that can possibly improve our lives. One of the ways that Tracy says, yes, definitely. One of the ways that you can change your perspective, you all, we've talked about it here almost ad nauseum. One of the ways you can change your perspective is by stop comparing yourself to others. Comparing yourself to others is a surefire way, you all, to bring down your self-esteem. It's a way to make you feel bad about yourself. It's also a waste of your time. Because what I realize is that you're comparing apples to oranges. There's no two people whose lives are just alike. And when it comes to social media, people put their best foot forward. They show you what they want you to see. So stop comparing yourself to people. You have not lived in their shoes. They have not lived in your shoes. And even if you fit the same, even if you have the same shoe size, you don't have the same feet. So stop comparing yourself to other people. And then one of the other things that we really need to do, y'all, somehow we really need to teach ourselves how to adapt, how to embrace change. We really do, because change is a natural part of life, and it's something that you just cannot afford, not avoid, rather. Change. We have to learn how to embrace change. The only thing you can do with change is embrace it, because change is like a tidal wave that comes in. You can't do anything about it. You can't resist it. Sometimes you just have to embrace it, accept it, and learn from it. Change is going to happen because we are in a dynamic world. So we need to learn how to embrace change. We need to learn how to embrace different schools of thought, different ways, different ideologies, different ways of doing things, different ways of getting there. I'm not going to harp on that. I'm not going to stay on that, but just think about it. That is one. I am my own competition. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you can never be just like someone else. That's right. You can't be like someone else. You are your own competition. Paula D, I like that, because if I'm my own competition, I don't have to worry about losing or winning. I really don't. And so then let's keep on going. So don't compare yourself with other people. Learn how to embrace change. And then can I say this to y'all? And this is not very profound at all. It's not prolific. It's not deep. It's none of that. But don't sweat the small stuff. How many times do we hear that? Just don't sweat the small stuff. How many times do we say that to the young people in our lives and our brothers and sisters and siblings and sometimes our parents? Just don't sweat the small stuff. Because the little thing in the big scheme, in the big picture, the little things really don't matter so much. A lot of times we can be on the road to do something, on our way to accomplish something, and we encounter these small setbacks, and that's all they are, y'all. They're just small setbacks. Sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes mistakes happen. Don't stress about it. It is not worth it. Let's learn how to not sweat the small stuff. Just don't do it. Sometimes we have to learn how to let things roll off of our back like water on a duck. And look at the big picture. Step back and look at the big picture and say, is this worth my time? Is this worth my tears? Is this worth my headache? Is this worth my heartache? Is this worth my anxiety? Is this worth my frustrations? And a whole lot of times, can I tell you all, it is not. Thank you, Tracy. Tracy says, yes, because you need to save that anxiety for the larger issues that will come up, and they will come up. And just as you're learning to sweat the small stuff, I don't have a lot of deep stuff to say this evening, y'all. I'm just offering some practical stuff. So don't sweat the small stuff. And then learn how to look on the bright side. My sister-in-law tells me that there are probably some people who wake up and go, wow, I'm glad to see another day. And then there's some people who wake up and go, wow, here's another day. But just learn to look on the bright side. Even if you're faced with difficulty, even if you're faced with hardships, even if you're faced with challenges, try to look on the bright side. There is always a silver lining. Can I say this? Sometimes you just have to find it. And sometimes the silver lining is not necessarily found in the outcome of what you're going through, but many times the silver lining is found in the strength that you gain from having gone through it. I'll try to say that again. Sometimes the silver lining is not found in the outcome of what you go through, but the silver lining is found in the strength that you've gained from having gone through it, from the integrity that you've gained from having gone through it, from the character that has come out in you from having gone through it, just your inner fortitude, your inner tenacity, all of that kind of stuff. A lot of times when we go through it, don't look at the end result of that, but look at the end result of who you've become. Have I become a stronger person? Have I become a more integral person? Have I become a person with more character? Have I become a person who's resolute in who he or she is? Have I become a person whose reputation is even stronger? Have I become a person whose mindset says, now I know I can do more, I can endure more, I can handle more, I can process more? Sometimes you just got to look for the silver lining. Because a lot of times, just before we get right there, almost to the silver lining, and we give up on ourselves. Because it didn't go the way we wanted it to go. But how did I come out through it? How did I come out on the other side of it? A lot of times that's the silver lining. So you just got to learn to look for the bright side. Just learn to look for the bright side. Just say to yourself, you know what? I've got to find it. There is something in here for me. And then again, nothing profound. Let's just learn how not to take things for granted. I'm handling life. I'm dealing with it. Let's not take things for granted, because often we take things for granted without realizing how fortunate, how blessed we are. Because when you start to appreciate what we sometimes call the little things in life, you'll be happier, you'll be content, you'll be at peace, you'll be at ease. Your mindset will not be chaotic. There will not be so much confusion. There will not be so much calamity, but you'll experience more peace when you learn not to take things for granted. Just learn how to appreciate the little things, you all. Just learn how to appreciate the little things. I told y'all this is not, these are things that we know, things that we have heard. Y'all tell me if these are things that you have heard, things that we know, but we just sometimes forget. Sometimes we just forget to put these things in practice. And speaking of forget, another thing that we can do to shift our perspective, this is what I'm talking about, learning how to shift our perspectives. One of the things that we can do sometimes, y'all, is just forgive and forget. Just let it go. I don't have time to hold grudges. I don't have time to waste my energy on that. Let me just forgive the people who hurt me in the past and just move on, because what's in the past is the past, and I just got to keep on moving. So I learn how to forgive and forget. I make myself forgive people, because what I say is that forgiveness has more to do with me and less to do with them. Because I need to move on. And in order for me to move on, in order for me to progress, I have to let go sometimes of the weight that tries to hold me down. I need to forgive and forget. That's just what works for me. And then I'll say this to us, that is in terms of, in addition to letting things go, just let's learn how to live in the present. There's a reason it's called the past. It's because it's behind me. The past is over. I can't do anything about the past, but what I can do is try to influence the future that's coming my way. I live in the present, but I try to influence or impact the present that's coming my way. I can't do a thing about the past. Can't recreate it, can't undo it, just cannot. All I can do is live with it, remember and recall it. But I cannot recreate it. It's the past, you all. Live in the present. Sometimes, even when we meet people, I may not have seen someone for 20 years, and one of the first things I might be inclined to do, is pull up the dossier and the resume of the person from what I remember 20 years ago. I've done that. So in terms of learning how to live in the present, we've got to learn how to live in the present. It's called the past because it's behind me. And not only do I need to sometimes leave people in the past, but sometimes I need to leave my past in the past. So the whole forgiving and forgetting, sometimes I've got to forgive myself and pull myself into the present and say, you're not that same person. Auntie's Advice Channel for Women, my good friend. I love you, and it's so good to see you. I've learned how to forgive myself too, not just others, but those I have offended. But Auntie, you're right, especially myself. Because a lot of times, what I visit in the past is just a mere shadow of who I once was. And I absolutely refuse to allow me to be held by the me of the past. I refuse to allow the me of the present to be held hostage by me of the past. Because my concern is about me in the future. So let's learn to live in the present. And don't be afraid. As I'm moving into the future, you are, again, nothing profound or prolific, but just making sure that you're not afraid to try new things. If you want to shift your perspective, one of the things that you ought to do is to not be afraid to try new things. Because it is by trying new things that you're going to expand your horizons. It is by trying new things that you will learn another way of being, another way of showing up. You'll have much more fun in life if you try to do new things. Just don't be afraid. And then don't stop. Just another one. Just another one, you all. Again, you all tell me if you don't we already know these things, but we sometimes forget them. So my offering this evening is the power to remember. My offering this evening is the power to recollect and recall the things that we already know. That is my offering this evening. My offering is the power to recall these things or recollect these things that empower us to step into a brighter future. Because I don't know about you all, but I want to step into a brighter future. Well, I do know about you all, and that's why we're here on this platform together. I'm getting ready to offer another that sometimes offer another way of thinking that sometimes people will shun and people will critique and people will criticize. But I just need to offer this one to us, you all. Don't be afraid to fail. Failure is just a part of life, and it's something that you cannot avoid. You will not always finish every race in first place. You will not always finish everything that you started. You will not. It's just a way of life. It's a part of life. And the key to learn from your failure is to learn how to progress in spite of. Learn how to get to your next in spite of. And don't be so hard on yourself. We are our own worst critics, and we beat ourselves up over the smallest things. We do it all the time. And here is what happens. When other people see us beating ourselves up, they'll join in on the fight. And then we look at them like they are crazy for beating us up. But the question is, why are you criticizing them for joining in and beating you up when you started beating yourself up? I need to sit up straight. People jump in and start harping on you and start beating you up because they see you beating yourself up. And then you look around and you say, what are you doing? What are they doing? They see how you treat yourself. Got to learn not to be so hard on yourself. Self-criticism, sometimes it does more harm than it does good. I'll examine, I'll evaluate, I'll assess, but what I'm not going to do is criticize myself. Can I say that again, you all? Maybe one evening I need to talk about the difference between criticizing and assessing, evaluating. Yeah. So I'll assess, I'll examine, I'll evaluate. I would do all of that, but I'm not going to criticize myself because it does more harm than it does good. And I told you all a couple weeks ago, one of the things that I'm going to do in 2023 is be kind to myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to give myself a break. I'm going to extend myself the grace that I hope other people will extend me and the grace that I would extend to others. Be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself. You can't take care of anyone else at your greatest capacity until you take care of yourself. You cannot take care of anybody else at your greatest capacity until you learn to take care of yourself. What does that look like, Cutler? What does that mean? It means that you've got to get proper rest. It means that you have to have a healthy diet. It means that you need to give your body the exercise and the mobility that it needs. You have to take care of your physical self. You've got to take care of your spiritual self. You've got to take care of your mental self. You've got to take care of your emotional self. Take care of yourself, you all. And then here is one. Here's this one. Just for the record, we know this, but how many times do we fail to do this? Spend time with positive people. Tracy said, yes, be kind to yourself. Take care of yourself. And I'm talking about shifting perspectives, you all. Spend time with positive people. You become a reflection of who you hang around. You become a reflection of your circle, a reflection of your space. So surround yourself with positive people. It's one of the best things that you can do for your mental health, because negative people will only bring you down. And learn to appreciate life. Again, ain't none of this stuff. As I'm really falling back on my colloquialisms tonight. Just appreciate life. Life is a precious gift. It is a commodity. It's something we should all appreciate. When you start to appreciate life, you will be happy. You will be content. You will be joyful. You will be at peace. Learn to be happy with life. Learn to appreciate life. Does everything go just like you wanted in life? Absolutely not. I've known people who lived over 100 years, and they never told me that every day came out exactly like they wanted it to come out. But they have learned to appreciate life and treat it as the gift that it is. And then learn. I was having a conversation just last week about someone who was asking me about purpose, but learn how to live your life with purpose. A lot of times people ask, well, what is the purpose of life? What is my purpose? And I simply say to them, purpose is why you are still alive. Purpose is what happens when you're on your way to destiny. A lot of times people are looking at their calling and seeing what gifts and talents and all sorts of wonderful things is the clouds going to open up, and I can't, this is what your purpose is in life. Purpose happens every single day. Purpose happens every single day. And sometimes people get caught up thinking, well, why am I here? Why did God create me? Why am I here? If you believe in God, as I do, some people think, well, why did he create me? What am I doing here? What's my purpose in life? Yada, yada, yada. Can I tell you again, purpose is what happens every single day while you live. And a lot of times you don't realize purpose until you're on the other side of it. So I may not realize my purpose for the day until I put my head on the pillow when I get ready to go to bed tonight. And I'll look back over the day and say, oh, that's what my purpose was today. You don't always know it when you're facing it. But if you just take a moment and look back over the day, did I have an impact on somebody? Did I influence somebody in a positive way? Did I make a difference in somebody's life? Did I do something that improved my life? Did I do something that showed my character? Did I do something that pulled of my integrity? That's what purpose is all about. Stop looking for purpose as these things like, I have to today I've got to feed 5,000 homeless people. My purpose is to bring joy and peace to the multitudes. Your purpose today might not be anything other than to talk to one person who was on the cliff, one person who's on the ledge, one person who's going through something and you don't even necessarily know it. So a lot of times you don't know purpose. And again, I say this, you don't know purpose until it's happened. So you may be talking to somebody today, and it may not be until 3 weeks from now that person says to you, you know what, I was really in a bad place 3 weeks ago. And just by listening, you helped me out. Just by your kind words, you help me out. So here you are struggling with purpose today, but 3 weeks from now, that person says, that's what your purpose was 3 weeks ago. Stop struggling with purpose, you all, and live. Stop getting paralyzed by what you don't know. And rather than trying to discover this purpose that speaks to you from the clouds, from the sky, just live your life with intention. When you live your life intentionally, you are more likely going to achieve your goals. You're going to be happy. So just think about what you want out of life and work towards achieving those goals. Purpose is going to happen. And can I say this? I need to get out of here, you all. But one of the things that we can do that can help us all is to learn how to appreciate what you have. We often take things for granted without realizing again how fortunate we are. But just appreciate what you have. And sometimes we can all stand to just simplify life. Declutter. You remember when we talked about decluttering? You can just learn to declutter your homes, learn to declutter your emotions, learn to declutter your minds, and just get rid of unnecessary obligations out of your life. If you don't really have to do it, just get rid of it. Clean up your schedule, clean up your calendar, give yourself time to be nice to yourself, and stop worrying so much. Just stop worrying so much, learn to be yourself. And I got to end on this note: believe in you. I'm talking about how to shift your perspective. Believe in you. Don't worry about what anybody else believes. Believe in you. Believe that anything is possible. Have faith in yourself. Don't give up on your dreams. Keep 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 dreaming. Keep dreaming. I don't know if I want to come back to that thing the next time we chat or not, but sometimes I can't help but feeling the weight of people who just want to give up on themselves, people who want to give up on the weight of their dreams. But believe in you, believe in yourself, and keep dreaming. Sometimes you just have to say to yourself, I'm going to forge forward. I'm going to move ahead. And you may have to put it like this: I ain't going to worry about nobody who don't believe in me. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm going to be true to myself. I'm going to be authentic with myself. And I'm going to be content with myself. I'm going to be happy with myself. I'm going to be at peace with myself. Believe in yourself and be yourself. I got to get up out of here now. As soon as I build this thing up, you all just learn how to believe in yourself and be yourself. It will shift your perspective. And it will put up a filter whereby you stop allowing other people's perspective to cloud your judgment of who you are and how you see life. Believe in yourself, be yourself, and it will put up a filter and a barrier that will filter how much you allow other people to influence how you see yourself and how you see life. I want to thank you all for spending these 1,800 seconds with me. I hope that I hope that you can glean a piece. I hope that you can glean a nugget or something out of this conversation. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Can I say thank you? Thank you for allowing me this space to hopefully share and hopefully offer you a nugget that will really help save and change somebody's life. Because that's what I'm trying to do. Let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community. Let's keep maintaining connectivity. Let's stay safe. Let's stay sane. Let's keep our hopes up. Let's keep our heads up. And know this, from my heart to yours, there is and always will be so much love. Until the next time we talk, tell somebody else, come on, and let's talk to Cutler. I'll see you all the next time. Good night.